Hello everyone, this is Suresh. Today we are going to cover Angular directives and pipes. So whenever I say a word, Angular makes HTML dynamic. What does that mean? Since beginning, I was telling that HTML is a static, HTML is a static. Then how do you make your web pages more dynamic? So what I'm saying is when you take any web page, that web page has to be, dynamic. How do you make your web page dynamic? There should be a mechanism. You have to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so many things. In this three category, you use HTML for layout purpose, just to draw a layout. When you draw a layout, it is only for drawing. You take a pen, paper, you just draw something. It is not movable or it cannot do any other styling or something. So what you need to do is that you have to use JavaScript or CSS. CSS is something for beautification. JavaScript is something which you want to send a data to backend, a button click event, sending a form data, receiving a data, Ajax call, all this comes into picture. Then that is how we use it to develop a web pages. And it is very tedious process to implement JSP, ASP. Every time the client has to send a request to the server has to send the response. This kind of processing is going on, and it is increasing the network connections, eating up a lot of network bandwidth and all to develop this kind of legacy web applications. So what Angular people thought is that let the client be as it is, server side middleware, client side, how do we make web pages more dynamic? It's kind of using a HTML, JavaScript, CSS, but adding an extra sugar coated or syntaxes to make your HTML pages more dynamic. So that we are going to see today. How do they do it? They are saying you have a HTML. Then how do you make your HTML more dynamic? That is nothing but adding a Angular syntax is called directives. So what are directives? So if you understand directives, then you will get an idea of how Angular works exactly. That is what we are going to see. So directives have different types: components, structural directives, attribute directives, custom directives. The name directives is inherited from Angular 1. Before Angular 2 till Angular 1.7 or 1.5, there is no concept of components. Angular started its version with directives only. There were no components in Angular 1. Angular 1.5 onwards it was there. But Angular 1 was very popular till Angular 2 gets introduced. Now Angular 2, Angular 3 up to 6, 7 is there. 8 also came in the market. So then people who don't know Angular 2 onwards, they only knows directives. Slightly they understand what is component. But Angular 2 onwards, componentization became very key feature. Then what is the point of we talking about directives today? It has its own advantages. Types of directives, components. Why they are calling as a component as also a directive? The directives is the first word came in Angular 1 onward. Then they enhanced the directives. Then they named it as a components. In the directives, we have another concept called structural directives. Component is something different. You are designing your web pages in a reusable manner and a components approach. Then what is the point? Structural directive is nothing but it is going to modify the document object model structure. It adds and removes. That is called structural directive. Then what is the point of attribute directive? Attributes are nothing but I have a directive like this. Open a. So I have a div tag, all about making your HTML more dynamic. So here I will have hello, and I have a input type equal to text, whatever input you don't need to close, and you have a square bracket ng model. What is this? Nothing but, see here I can use ng class. These are direct. What it is doing? This is a attribute directive. Then what is the component? You have seen already, app component. Why do we need to have all these things? See, when I use this, it is changing or adding, embedding the entire behavior of this component. It could be a login page, it could be a products, anything. But here what it is doing is it is completely replacing the HTML. But here in the input you are still using the HTML input, but you are adding a extra syntax that is called sugar coating to get some behavior. What is that behavior? You are binding the model to this input field. Here you can say container. We have a div tag, that's a container, and that container you are applying a CSS at runtime, that is called ng class. What you are doing? You are using the HTML provided div tag, but you are modifying the behavior of that div tag by adding some extra sugar coating. We also have another list. Star ng for equal to let student of students. What you are doing? Li, and you are saying student. So what are we doing here? I'm saying I want to loop through list of students. How is that possible? Because of this ng for directive. What kind of directive is this? It's an attribute. And apart from that, we need some formatter. We have to format a data. I want to display date in a mmddyy. I want to display date in a short full length or US format, UK format, India format, or I want to format the text into uppercase, lowercase. I want to format the currency. I want to format the credit card number, the way which it displays. So we'll be using pipes. Types of pipes: built-in pipes, custom pipes. Directives: apart from built-in directives, you can also develop your own directive. How? And pure and impure pipes. What kind of pipes? Different types of pipes. What is pure pipe, impure pipe? Directives. So what are directives? When the template is rendered on the browser, the DOM elements or the DOM tree gets changed according to the instruction given by directives. They allow you to manipulate the DOM. What is DOM? Document Object Model. Whenever you create any HTML web page, the template which loads into the browser, what browser does when the application is loaded, it will parse the HTML, make sure no syntax errors, closing tag, error tag properly kept or not. Then it will creates a DOM, document object model. Why do we need to create a document object model? Because to manipulate the DOM, you need a document object model. That is called DOM. Who creates it? The browser creates it. When it will create? When the application is being loaded, once the parsing is done, it creates a DOM. Using the DOM, you can manipulate your HTML through JavaScript. That is how it works earlier. Now with the help of Angular also, you can still manipulate the DOM with the help of so many things. Directives, pipes, or a component, so many things. When the template is rendered on the browser, the DOM elements, whenever I say DOM elements, you go to any browser, take any example, login page, HTML, head tag, I'll save this template as a index.html and store it on my desktop to replace. There is already something. Now body tag. You have a div tag. The div tag has an input type text. The text name is something, username, like this you have. And you have a button in the next line. The button name is login. Something I'm keeping it. Now go to browser, index.html, right click, open with Google Chrome. You see this? Now I will open a Firebug developer tool, F12, whatever. This HTML page look is like this. Here you have a element created, all those things. Go to element, look at it. HTML body it has. Here is your final HTML code. It has so many things. So you can see the hierarchy. DOM is nothing but hierarchy of your HTML converted into an object model. So now if I want to access this input field, what am I supposed to do? I can use a script tag like this. In the script tag, I have to say document dot get element by ID. What is that ID? You can say username. I have to give ID also dot value. So user entered the data into the input field, right? To retrieve that value, you are going to use document object model, that is called DOM. So how do you access? It's like once you have an object with you, you are saying object dot function dot that property. So that's how browser converts the DOM. Now you can manipulate the DOM using value. You can apply a value. What is nothing but a DOM tree? You have a HTML. It has a head tag. Inside head, what you can keep? You can keep title. That is what they are talking about. Inside a head, I can keep a title. The title is what? DOM understanding something, or DOM structure. Then you have a head, body, both are siblings. You have a body. Inside body, what you have? Div tag. Inside div tag, what you have? Input. So that is what the hierarchy they are talking about here. So on this basic HTML, you are going to apply a directives. What kind of directives you are going to apply? Let's see. I'll create a project for today, demo sessions. I'm opening a terminal. CD Suresh, Angular, and Feb 2020. What am I supposed to do? Ng new mod 3, we can say directives. it creates a project for you. Then you need to go to that location and run ng serve. You can also use Visual Studio. Now CD, what did they name? A mod 3 or something. Now say ng serve. Now your application is ready to serve. So go to here and say localhost 4200. The server is not up, it is compiling. Now your application is ready. I'll go to your component and import that. The project I have to import from my workspace. Angular Feb 2020 mod 3 directives. So now you go to the project, open the app component.html, remove all unnecessary stuff, just keep div tag. You can say structural directive. So now launch the application and see structural directive. If you want, put it as h1 or something inside the div tag, no issues. So now you have a HTML created. Where is your model sits? Business logic, the component. So inside the component, what I'm going to do is that I'll take a flag boolean, you can say true, flag variable boolean true. What happens if I use this flag? Go to HTML page. I don't want to see this structural directive. What should I do? Usually we use style CSS, display none, all those nonsense which we do in the CSS. How do I make my HTML page? You can put a button, maybe the button, click. Now I don't want to see this button. How do I do that? If I want to manipulate programmatically, this button should not be visible to me. How do I do that? Based on some condition. HTML is a static. How do you apply a condition? It is not allowed. If this is a normal JavaScript approach, I have to use id equal to some button, and I have to access this button document.get element by id button dot style dot display none or something. But in Angular, you don't need to do that. What you need to do? Star ng if equal to the flag. If the flag is true, it will show yes, button is displayed because the flag is true. Now go to your component, make the flag as false. That means based on the model, the DOM is being manipulated. So you're able to see this, the DOM. Now go to Command Shift I, whatever F12. Look at your HTML. Final HTML is this. Now in this HTML, you have a app root, the root, and you have a div tag, and you have a h1 tag. Where is the button? The button is not there. You have a div body tag, you have a component, you have a div tag, you have a h1 tag. H1 tag has a string called structural directives demo whatever blah blah. Button code itself is missing. The reason this is a ng star if is a structural directive. If I remove this, you look at it. If I remove this, the button code you can see. You guys are able to see the button there because it's part of your HTML. When I apply star ng if, that is called structural directives. What does structural directive means? It adds or it removes the DOM elements. Structural directives are responsible for DOM manipulation in Angular. Structural directives manipulate the DOM by adding or removing and replacing elements in the DOM. DOM manipulation is nothing but removing, adding, or sugar coating, or you should be able to manipulate dynamically using JavaScript or Angular end of the day. So the DOM by adding, removing, and replacing the element in the DOM, conditional based. Like that, how many structural directives we have? We have ng for, we have ng if. You can also write your own structural directives. Now, internally, you guys need to understand how this star ng if is working. I'll write a component, custom. I'll show you how to write a directive and attach here so that your HTML behaves differently. What they are saying is directives are different types: component level, directive level, attributes level, structural directives, and component, structural, attribute, custom directives. You write your own directives like ngif. So now more about directives. Directives extends HTML with new attributes. What does that mean? Directives extend HTML with new attributes. Now understand the syntax, very simple. What is the HTML? This is the HTML. What are we doing today here? You are adding a new syntax. That is what? You are extending the HTML with a new attributes. What are the attributes? Maybe you will have name equal to login button. You will have ID login btn. Apart from that, you also have a new syntax called ngif. What is this new syntax is doing? It is making your HTML dynamic. That is what I'm telling you. Even any XML is nothing but what? Opening, closing tags with the attributes. Attributes are nothing but what? These are called attributes. The new syntax added by Angular is calling these attributes as a directives, nothing else. The directives are four types: structural directives, attribute. Now we are talking about a structural directives. We are going to talk about a normal directives, like take an example of input field text. Now what am I going to do here? Ng model equal to first name. Can I say username? Now tell me what is happening here. It should work properly first of all without any issue. Make sure no issues. Ng model, it is not working. I'll need to go back to my module and you put a forms module. This I need to import because I'm going to use a module. Forms was not found. Ng forms module. Was that a forms module or ng forms module? Now it is working. It's a forms module, not ng. Now see, I have a input field, I have a div tag, I have a button also. Button we have added a condition. Now see the ng model, what we are using it here in the component, I'm going to create a username, variable called username, the string type equal to, I'm going to give some John. What is happening here? The John is being displayed. How it is being displayed? Does it change any structural directive? No. If you go and look at it here in the code, it's not based on condition. You are just adding some extra behavior to existing input called HTML input. What you are doing is you are binding a model. If there is a value in the username model, that is being displayed on the view. Model being binded with the view. Vice versa, two-way data binding also we can do, but that is not the goal here. You need to understand. Angular supports a directive. What kind of directive? Attribute based directive. These attribute based directive will not have any impact on the DOM. It will just changes the behavior. Now what is this structural directive? It will remove, it adds or it replaces the element to the existing DOM. Like this structural directive, we have a ng for. Like this, we have a ng model. Like this, we have a input. Maybe tomorrow if you want to apply a CSS, you can apply to this button only. You can say ng class button CSS. What it does, it will keep the button, but it will apply the class, new class CSS, to make your button look more beautiful. Now I'm moving to the next one. Now the next one transforms the DOM according to instructions. More about directives. One thing, it extends the HTML behavior. It transforms the DOM according to instruction. See, instructions means what here? Star ng if. You are saying that if the flag is true, if this is true, then only show, otherwise don't show. That is nothing but an instruction. Appears within HTML tag. Where do you keep directive? Within HTML tag. Modifies the JavaScript class also, because the model and the view, that is the behavior it is changing. So it has a control on all the things. Types of directives. Types of directive component. Component is something which you are injecting into your main HTML. It has a logic. What does components will have? Component will have class, component will have a model, component will have a template. Structural directive, yes, adds, removes or replaces the element in the DOM. Attribute, it just enhances, changes the behavior of the existing HTML tag. It will not modify the existing HTML element. Custom directive. Angular provided a component. Angular provided a structural directive. Angular provided an attribute. Now what is my goal? I want to write my own custom directive. How do I do that? I'm going to show you an example, then you will get an idea. A component is a directive with a template. At the rate component directive is a decorator. You know that. Now at the rate component decorator is at the rate directive decorator. So if you want to develop your own directive, you have to use at the rate directive. Why can't you use at the rate component? Because at the rate component belongs to component. So other three approaches: structural, attribute, custom. You have to use at the rate directive. For only component, you have to use component, because Angular 2 is populated with components. When we place the selector of the component, if you are writing a component, this is a syntax. Now that selector is being injected in your HTML body tag. So what is the goal of it? When we place the selector of the component in our template, we are instructing Angular to add the content of the component and the business logic of the TypeScript code where we have used the selector. You have created a component. The component name is app.root and it has a HTML logic view and it has a business logic sitting in a class. That entire thing you're going to keep it here with the help of the selector. For this statement, when we place the selector of the component in our template means your HTML code, we are instructing Angular, please replace the content. That means the placeholder is going to be replaced with this logic. It contains a business logic. Structural directives again. Why do we need to use a star? There is a significance. You can ask me, if Angular 1, the syntax would have been like this. If this is an Angular 1, the syntax is ngIf equal to the flag. But Angular 2 onwards, they changed the syntax. It's like camel case. ngIf, ng is a prefix for Angular. Star is, it has some significance. Star ngIf is the simplest structural directive. It takes an expression and makes an entire chunk of DOM appears or disappears based on the condition whether it is truthy or not. Star ngIf directive removes an HTML and easily copy or replaces whatever. Prefix the directive name with an asterisk. What does that mean? Say div star ngIf equal to condition. But internally this is being replaced like this by Angular. End of the day, you have to understand the data value is binded to ng model kind of thing, ngIf, that is being replaced with a ng template. This is how the Angular generates a template. That entire content is going to embedded inside an ng template directive. So star internally converts the content to regular binding. Regular binding means the square brackets what they are talking about, the ngIf, and wraps the content with an additional ng template element. So internally it is converting into element and the binding only. This is what you need to understand. Removes versus hidden element. What do you mean by remove? What do you mean by removing it completely from the DOM? But sometimes I want to hide it. Then what do you do? Ng hide. There is a attribute called hidden. You can use it. Hidden, something like this. I'll go to this, take another button. The button name is reset. I'm going to make this, I'm going to remove all these things. Now I'll name the button name as reset. Now I'll use two-way data binding hidden. Based on the flag value, it is going to hidden. Can we run it? Reset is visible or it got removed it. The login button was not there, but reset was there because it's a flag. Now go to the DOM element. Look at it here. It has an input and it has a button called reset. Now I will make the flag as a true. What happens? Observe. Hidden true. Now I am saying hide it. Now look at it. Reset button was not there, but reset button is still there in the DOM. Now you understood the difference? Hidden means it will not just show the button user or it will not appear on the screen, but element is part of the DOM tree or part of the DOM. That is the difference between hidden and removing it. You have a DOM. What is the hidden disadvantage? What is the remove advantage? Let's assume you are going to show a big component based on the hidden flag. Hidden means it is still there in the DOM. It's a memory being used. That means it's a heavy on the browser. It is consuming the memory. So performance it. Remove means when you don't want, you can remove it. If the component is being hidden, your destroy method will not be invoked. One more point, ng destroy. Let's assume you are using a component. That component is being removed from the DOM. Then only ng destroy method is being invoked because it is being destroyed completely. The component will not use the memory consumed by the browser. It will release it when the component is being removed. That means your destroy method is being invoked when the component is being removed from the DOM. Hidden means the component is there, but it is not hidden. How it will work? Who provided this? It's a built-in directive like ng model, ngIf, hidden. You can ask me why there is no star. Structural directives will have star. The remaining will not have built-in directive. Who provided? The Angular team provided. Let's assume this is a component. Inside the app component file, create a variable called course and assign the string value to it. They are saying you create a variable called course and assign some value. So if the course is true, they are showing that content, otherwise it will not be displayed. Now again, ng template, like that you can have a false condition, some template you can apply. Add an else clause to the existing HTML code. You are saying that show button. What if you don't want to show a button? How do you apply switch case? That is the immediate question comes to your mind. So here, when you are using something star ng, if it is a structural directive, so it is going to keep your content inside a div tag. This is what they're clearly saying. I have a list tag or I have a div tag. Whenever you use a condition ng if course equal to so and so, that is going to replace with the template. The entire content is going to be displayed. See, what we are saying is, I have a button tag with ng if. This internally, the entire HTML needs to be wrapped in a template. Otherwise, how do you manage it dynamically? The DOM cannot be managed. This is part of it. So that is being managed by your directive called structural directive ng if. This will be replaced, added. Some wrapper should be there. That is what your ng template. Like this, you can have else conditions also. If course is true, do this. Else false condition, what needs to be displayed. You can keep it like that. ng template and the false condition with hash reference. So what is happening? This will be replaced inside this h1 tag. There is a switch case. That is the reason why I'm not bothering about ng if else. Whenever you have a if, you need a else condition. So in HTML, how do I manage it? You can use templates. So see, h1 tag, ng if, and the expression. If the expression is true, the course contains some value. Show that. Otherwise, true condition. This template, entire thing will be replaced in the li part. Else, if the course is false condition, you display. Now, structural directive ng for. What is ng for? Is a structural directive that renders a template for each. How do you loop through an HTML elements in Angular? You have to use structural directive called ng for. What is the use of it? It's looping through. Now you understood how do you make your HTML more dynamic? The reason why I'm going to write ng for once again, go to your business logic. Business logic means component. Now, can we make these as a courses? What do you want to say? Courses is an array, any type of array. You can keep array as Angular. Different ways of creating an object. This is a array. I can have object like this name. I can say Angular category. What is the category? I can say web application. Then web development. I can create one more name. I can say cloud, AWS cloud category. What is this? Cloud platform, comma, name, AWS to Angular to Java category, middleware platform. Right now I'll take three objects courses. Now go to component.ts HTML. Loop through. This already learned ng for. How do you loop through? Let course of courses and li tag. How do you display the course name? Course dot name. See dot notation hyphen course dot category. Application displayed very well. Now this is one approach. So what is happening here in the HTML component? The data is being hard coded on the component. I told you in the beginning, in the business logic, never keep the data. Keep the data somewhere in the providers or get it from the server that we are going to see today itself. Understand what is for, because you need to understand it. ng for is a structural directive that renders a template for each item in the collection. What is collection? Array, item. It is repeater directive that iterates over a collection of data. It loops through each item and does what you are instructing. What are you telling in the instructions? The unordered list, whatever you use. I have a list of items. This is how you are instructing the HTML by Angular, making it more dynamic. ng for list of items are there in this courses variable, the model, the data. Loop through each item. Take the course, each one item of the list or the array. It has a object course name and the category. Two variables in the object are properties. I want to print using a interpolation called data binding card using a curly braces. That means evaluate this course is an object contains a property called name. Evaluate the value and print the output in the list tag. What is the list tag? Li tag, unordered list. What Angular talks? The directive is placed on the element. Which element? The unordered list which we have done. Or you can do in the li tag also directly. which becomes the parent of the cloned template. So ng for tells Angular to display the one li element per course in the course array. What they are saying is you don't need to use li, you can move this here also. Both are same. You are applying on the element. This also works. It came. So what did we do? Li. I want to repeat what? The list of li tag to print a bullet point or courses in a one below one, something like that. So you are using list tag. Let course creates a local variable that will be available in the template. So you are saying that whenever you use star or whatever and you are applying a ng for, it creates a template or something internally. So the let keyword course, because the course should not be common for everything. That is a reason why when you create a for loop also in Java or a JavaScript, what do we do? For where I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. What is the significance of this where? That means you are creating a variable freshly. If you don't keep it, you are initializing with a 0 variable. If there is a I already, let's assume I equal to 2. If I don't keep it, it will start from maybe it will not get initialized in some programming languages. But in JavaScript, even though if you keep where, it will not take it. So you have to use let keyword. It creates a new one. Let is a local scope because JavaScript scoping is slightly different. It's not like you use a curly braces, it will create a new variable. It's not like that. So even though if I keep curly braces here, let's assume this is a if condition. I would say flag equal to something. If I run this program, here is I is already available to you. Even though if I don't declare here, if I say I equal to 2, this is not specific to this scope only. The I is going to sit here as a I equal to global. That is what the scoping doesn't. If you say let, this becomes local. That is the scoping you need to understand. Now, of courses means it is a list. You are giving me one out of that. Star ng for a template. It creates a template internally. So now you understood what is for loop. Create an array of courses. This is an array contains named price of the courses. So they are saying course and the price of the course. Loop through list of items and blah blah. That anyhow I already created. The star ng for directive iterates through the each item. Now condition. Somebody is going to keep a condition saying that if the course price is less than 2000, then only show, otherwise don't show. If you guys want, I can add that price also. But our intention is something different, which I'm going to show you a service directive. But let me add price also. Price like 3000, price like 4000, price like 1500. I'm keeping like this. Whether it is a dollar, it is up to you. If you feel that very big, 300, $400, and this one is going to be $250. I'm changing that to dollars. I will tell you because I have a dollars rate. I'll use formatter pipes also. So now we have added one more parameter, but you're still working. Now the condition is go to your HTML code, put a condition saying that star ng if course dot price greater than 250. Let's see what happens. How many will come? How many courses are being displayed? 2 or 3? 2 courses. But how many we have? 3 courses in the data. Where is the data? The data is sitting in this one, the model. Now structural directives ng switch. You want to use switch case. How do you use it is a question which we are going to see. So why do we use switch case? If you have multiple cases where you are supposed to match, then you can use a switch case. So quickly go to example, create a div tag. What I will do is that I will simply use some syntax wherein variable. You take a variable called courses variable ng switch equal to courses. Now come back here. You have a paragraph. How do you show that? Star ng switch case if it is matching with single quotes you can use. What was the name I gave? Angular, AWS Cloud, Java. So come back. If I say Angular, if the case is Angular, I want to display Angular is a web application framework, something like this. Now, if my case is something star ng switch case equal to AWS Cloud, you can say why is that displaying like that? Cloud, maybe a keyword, a variable, it is showing as a variable. So you can say AWS is a cloud platform, something expansion I'm putting it. Let's see. How do I know whether it is being displayed or not? It's a string value. So I'm matching with a string only. because internally the value which is coming as a string. So let me try that. The template passing error. Unexpected closing tag P. Somewhere I didn't close the P properly. P paragraph tag P closed P paragraph. Course is not a simple object. Course is a complex object. ng switch case courses you are looping through, and each item you are getting it, and you have a default also. Star ng switch default equal to Java. Java is a middleware platform. Something like this will display. Now what is happening? You are saying that div tag, you are going through courses. What is courses here? It's a complex object. So it's not a simple, so you are getting a problem. If this is a simple, what you need to do is that, so ng switch equal to this, if it is a simple course dot name. Let's see. Now I'll apply a for loop here. Star ng for let keyword item of items. Items is what? The for loop. Now you need to say here ng switch of items. Let's see. Remove the switch case for now. So what is happening? You have a list of items, 4 courses. Each time when you loop through, you will get one item. That item we are giving it to switch case. Switch case means always one value. Color equal to red. Switch color. What do we do? Case, whatever, red, do this. This is how we write case, black, do this, default. Default should be there, do this. This is what you write in a normal programmatic approach. Condition, statement, whatever. Print this or something. Print this, or do this. I have a variable called color. That name is color. I'm putting it in a switch case. If case is red, do this. If the case is black, do this. Nothing is found, it's green, do this. Same way in HTML also, you have a list of items you are looping through. Now you can ask me, if this is a course, you have to use courses, course.name here. This should be. If it is a complex object, that is how it would have been like. So this will be taken care here. I'll go to the next one. Attribute directives. Attribute directive we already have used apart from structural directive like ng model, hidden we have seen. Then how does it works? Hidden is the best example for attribute directives. What it is doing, it will just change the behavior of the HTML element. So now the ng class directive controls the appearance of the elements by adding and removing the CSS classes dynamically. Style, whatever, style. So what do you do? Say my container. I'll write like this. This is the name of the class. Why are we saying class? Background color red, border color yellow, width 100 px, height 200 px. Now let's see, nothing happens. Now if I copy this my container and apply for any div tag, how do I apply? Class. There is a box came up. To make your any HTML beautify or applying a cosmetic, you have to use style tag. A paragraph. How do I apply paragraph font color red or something? My CSS, I'm saying. If I say style equal to color brown, look at it. My CSS is a text which has a brown tag, whatever color I applied it for the text. So what happened? If I want to give multiple properties like this, I have to write inline. Instead of giving, I want to reuse it. I cannot reuse it. If it is like for every tag, I have to repeat again and again. Look at it. I have a p tag again. Now I'll say cloud, platform, something. Now what happens if here also same I have to say color brown. Then how do I reuse the code? You write a class called my color, anything you can name it. Here simply you can put color brown. What happens? We'll replace this style attribute, class my color. It is still working. See, instead of giving multiple class names, I gave it in one shot and mapped or wrapped with a name that is nothing but a class. That means now what happens? ng class. Why do we need to use ng class than Angular? In Angular, if you want to apply a multiple classes at a time or class based on the condition, you have to go to ng class directive, which is being applied on any directive. String. It is a string. It should contain one or more spaces separated class name. Object, you can give as an object. You can give as an array also. You can give 3 ways. string ng class, a string ng class as an object, ng class as an array. Let's see how you can give that. Passing an array of classes. I have multiple classes to apply. I can apply multiple classes to a ng class also. See button primary. Now go to any Angular application, Bootstrap, get the Bootstrap CSS link, put it in your HTML, copy this Bootstrap CSS, put it in your main index.html, go to your app component.html. You have a button. Can I make that button look more beautiful by applying a CSS? How do I apply? Now what is the button? Click class equal to btn primary. The button looks nice. This way we can also apply one approach. What they are saying is, if you want to use ng class, you have to apply ng class. Array, if you want to pass, array means always strings, multiple classes being applied, comma array. Done. Now go and apply and see. Still it is working. I'll go and modify this to primary to success. Success is a green. Now we can also do that using simple class. Why do we need to use this ng class attribute? Now I'll go to the course which we already have in the loop. What I will do is this, in this loop, if my course is something, what I will do is that I will show a button to enroll. Now that button, by default you will see everything like this, enroll, two buttons are coming. Now I want to show the button color enable disable. How do you do that? I want to show the button color enable disable. Maybe green colored. If it is course price is something or category is something, then I will do that. So you say ng class equal to, you can use button object within double quotes. We can say the course, we have to apply a first class name. btn says btn success. That's a class name which we use it, colon. If course dot price greater than 400, let's see what happens. It is not applied. If my course is matching with this, or you can say one more, the course is whether active or not. I will add one more attribute to my course, JSON is active. This course is active, true. Or you can say is EST time zone is active, false, comma, is active, false. So how many courses are active? Only one course I made active using is active flag. Now go to the component HTML, put a condition saying that course.price is active, true. Then only show a button. Now you are able to enroll it. That's how you can use a logic. Now what is the next step? ng class, ng for ng class, multiple classes with conditions also you can apply. Same, the class examples we have written. Now attribute ng style. What is the other alternative? Same, style. If you want to apply a style, then why should I apply a style? Now go to your component.ts, create a variable called font size, button font size. I would say btn font size, which is a string. I would say 25px. The string value I'm keeping, and I'm taking this variable and I'm going to the HTML. Wherever I have a button, I would say ng style equal to, what was the thing which we always keep? The button font size, colon, the button size variable. Let's see how it works. The events also you can write. When you mouse over like this, you can change the font color, you can increase the button size and reduce. That also I will show you. So many things can be done on the demand. That's a attribute. Attributes means whenever I say component, it completely replaces a new component with a controller, view, model. Attribute means it just changes the behavior. Structural means it will removes from the DOM or adds to the DOM. Now what we are going to learn, the key thing is custom directives. Angular provided a directive, you used it, you are able to leverage, it worked very well. Now you are in a situation. What is that situation? I want to write a directive. What directive? It could be a attribute based directive, and I want to reuse that some functionality. What is that some functionality? I gave you an example clearly. You have a input where I have applied a ng class form controller and est input css. You have a form control button with these two ng style and ng class. So many things. Also hidden, there is a hidden variable input you apply. When you use that as an attribute, if the flag is true, it will display, otherwise it will hide somewhere. So those are Angular provided. I want to write my own ng hidden. Like hidden directive, you write your own directive. How do you write a directive is the question. So you need to understand before you start writing a directive, you have to understand how do we do that. Creating a directive is not so easy, right? You have to understand some basic. Custom directives. Custom directives are the directives to which what you will be using at the rate directive. If it is a component in Angular, you use at the rate component. If it is a directive, you will use at the rate directive decorator. Decorator means annotation has been applied. It is imported from Angular core and is used when no additional template is needed. It is imported at the rate directive. What they are saying is you will import from an Angular core library, like how these guys have imported, and you create a directory like a component, and you can use a selector. Based on that, you can take a decision whether you want to use as an element or attribute. Element, I don't say you need to use a custom directive. Component becomes element. Custom directives. CLI command line interface. If you want to create ng generate directive, the directive name it will create one for you. How do you create a directive? You take an example. Go to the same example. If you want, you can put folder called my directives, or you can say my directives. The folder name which I gave. So in this folder, I'm going to create a class called. What was the class name? You can give my hidden dot. Why are we giving a suffix called directive? Easy to understand. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to remember all those things. So what I'm saying is simply my hidden directive.ts file. So whenever I say directive, obviously you need to put import directive. This will be imported from where? At the rate angular/core. At the rate directive. How do you create a component? Same way you need to create a directive. So a directive will have what? Selector. How I am going to use this directive as an attribute? Yes, so use square bracket. What is the name of my directive? I'll say my hidden. To hidden your directive, you need some flag. Whether to hidden. Now you create export class my hidden directive. Go to the module. Copy this my hidden directive. Because see, declarations will have components, directives, pipes, whatever you keep, view providers. So now today we are going to give directive also. This is a component, this is a directive. Who is giving this directive to you? User defined. So you have to say my directive. Where is sitting it? From the app module, you go to one level, my directives folder. From there, you say the my hidden dot directive dot ts file. Whatever. I can reduce the font size. Maybe you can see in one line. I hope everyone is with me. These are the very important things which you need to understand. You wrote a directive. Now what I'm going to do, I'll keep my hidden directive here. Now I'll go to my HTML page, component.html. I'm taking on 3 tab, my custom directive. How do you use directive? Attribute, no? It is attribute based directive. I have a h3 tag. I want to change the behavior of my h3 tag by hiding, showing or something. How do I apply? My done. You have created a directive with a directive called at the rate directive annotation or a decorator, and that Typescript class, okay, has selector. That's whatever you want to apply, you will be using a selector. If it is a component, you will not use square bracket. If it is an attribute, you would use square brackets. And you are creating a directive. Export class, every component or a class should go through your Typescript class. That is what my hidden directive name which I gave. I have imported that in my module. I have declared that as part of my hidden directive. It's not my root component, it's a directive. Just enhances the behavior. Now I am going to my component HTML. Wherever I want to see this behavior, I'll just create my hidden directive. I'll start using it. Then what should happen? With this, my hidden, you are not doing anything at this moment. You have to do something. You have to hide it when that is being displayed. So for that, you have to use constructor public. You need a element which is of element reference. Because I'll tell you reference and renderer you need public renderer. You are saying renderer. Copy this element reference. How do you get this element reference? As part of your core library. Constructor. When your component or your object created very first time, the constructor gets invoked. When the new object is being constructed, the constructor is being created. When the constructor is ready, that means you are going to get the element reference. What is element? This is a dependency injection. The element reference is given to you because you want to use that as part of your code. So element reference renderer is given to you by whom? Your dependency injection. It's like, I have a function, that function variable which is of type element reference, which is a public declared, so I can access anywhere, and a renderer. Now what I am going to do is that my HTML element, if I go to browser, let's see what happens. My custom directives, this is visible. If I want to make this as a invisible, I have to add some logic. Maybe the requirement looks very small. So you have a HTML with you, this HTML element. The H3 is what? HTML element. Now in your TypeScript, if you want to get a reference, you want to access this element, how do I get? If it is a JavaScript, I would have tell document.get element by ID. I want to access view element in my TypeScript class. I go through element reference. The element, I'm referring to that element. Renderer, I want to apply something, I want to redraw, or I want to change something. Renderer, who is rendering your element on the screen or whatever. So now what you need to do is that you have to pass some value to your HTML component, like square brackets, blah blah, whatever. Some data I have to pass now. So that is going to be flag. Flag is a model which is sitting in the main component, which contains boolean value truthy, that I am passing into my hidden variable. Now you get that, how to use input parameters which we have used long back. I am passing a data to this hidden attribute. Now go to app directive here. Now you have to use @input. Who will provide this @input? My boolean. Now it is working. Now still your my custom directive is being displayed. Why? If you go to component, the flag value is still true. If the flag is true, it will display. If the flag is false, let's see, it should not display, but still visible. The value you are passing, but where are you handling that? You are getting a value as false, but this value you have to manipulate on the element. So for that we will do ng on changes, and the property of input field value changes. My ng on changes event lifecycle being triggered once again every time when you modify. So with that, I will have a control of getting a reference my element, re-rendering it. So what I will do, if element, how do I get it? This dot my hidden, this variable is true. If it is true means what? True means don't show. Don't show, how do you tell if this is English, right? Hey, element, what element? H3 element, don't show. I'm saying hide it. Else, hey, H3 element visible on the screen. I can change this, don't visible on the screen. This programmatically, how do I do that? You know what is the reference of this element? This dot renderer, the variable which we create render, this dot render dot set element style. Why are we using all these things? For any HTML, if you want to hide or show, you have to play with element only. Element style. You can ask me a question. What is this element style? So go to HTML element, create a CSS, use a property called display none, it will hide. If we say display block, it will show. Same concept. This dot, this means what? The HTML element renderer set element style of which one? This dot EL. EL means element, native element. You guys are able to understand what is native element here? And the property which we need to use, display. What is that property, display? You have to say none. I'm removing high level English, only code I'm keeping. Now if you want to show, what you need to do, you have to say display block. I'll show you one thing, W3 schools form or whatever. So here is form controller. If I right click inspect, it will come F12 screen. So H2 form control, it is being displayed here. I want to hide that, very simple. Edit as HTML, or you can open CSS also. The properties I'll show you how it looks. So here, very simple, I can say attribute edit as HTML, style equal to display none. What happens if I click outside? That got hidden. Whenever I add an attribute called h2 style equal to display is a property, none is a value. If I want to see that, I have to use a property value called display block. It will display to you. Now go to your code. So what I am saying is this dot my hidden is a variable value which you are passing from your directive as a value at the rate input hidden. Now I'm going to say when the property value changes, that means the flag which we are using from parent component can change at any time based on the button click or based on the value which you are getting. So if that property changes from true to false, false to true, this is the method lifecycle hook which you need to keep a code. Now you understood what is the purpose of a lifecycle hook, because see, they provided you a method lifecycle hooks. Whenever you want, you can handle a code like this. If the h3 tag my hidden value is true, it is nothing but true. If it is true, that means don't show this element hidden, name meaning itself hidden equal to true and hide it. Otherwise show. How do you say hide? I just showed you. You have to use property called display, because HTML CSS end of the day, browser knows HTML CSS Java. Here you are writing some code in a Typescript, but end of the day this is going to convert as it is. Now your property needs to be updated when there is a change in the value. So what I am saying is my element here should change, hide or toggle, show, don't show. That should happen based on my element style. How do you get the h3 element, this dot element? Because you already got that dependency injection in your constructor. So element reference, since it is a public, I'm able to access this el here. This is a current reference, the current class my hidden class dot element native element. What is native element? Your html element is a native element, the html type of element. Dot second parameter display. What is the value of display? None. That we are going to keep this dot my hidden equal to true. I need to change the h3 element render. I have to re-render, na? Something got changed. I have to render it. So the renderer is the one which is going to take care of your element visibility or hiding, whatever. Now you got an idea of what is the renderer. Renderer is something like redraw painting, repaint it, redraw. So what it does, somebody has to redraw. You said like hide it. There is a whiteboard. You written something on it. Now somebody said, can you rub it? Who has to rub it? Your hand has to go and use the duster and rub it. Na? Renderer is like that. Whenever somebody says write, it will write. It's like your hand. On what basis you are hiding and showing? Whatever. Display num, display block. Now go to the HTML browser, open Firebug Developer tool. You are getting a false. Since the flag is false, this is visible. If I make the flag as true, go to your main app component here. Make this flag as a true. Now your directive will not be visible. It's gone. It has only structural directive, not the custom directive. That's what I want to explain you about a custom directive. How do you write? So like this, you can create a login directive also, login component also. When there are no components in Angular 1.5 before, the directives are the one which we use to create a wizard questionnaire form, so many things. Now, built-in pipes. Why do we need to use a pipe? Go to your HTML component. I'm going to move this to lower part. I'll use the div tag with padding margin style, margin like top 200 px, so that I will see some space on the top. Margin margin. See, there is a space. So here I can tell you what I'm trying to explain, or I can create another example also. For me, not a problem. So what I will do is I'll keep the pipes here itself, or else I'll close this, create a component called pipes demo or whatever. Pipes dot component dot ts. How do you create a component? Import component from dot slash at the rate angular slash core at the rate component curly braces selector. I'm saying pipe component template URL. Where is the template URL? I'll get it from the current location pipe.component.html. Now use export class pipe component. I'm not writing a custom. This is the example I'm giving you, pipe component. Done. Now go to module. Just use, what is the component? Pipe component. This component I'm making it as a root component for now, and import. Instead of app component, I made it as a pipe component. In the same example, I'm going to same code base, I'm going to explain you what is the pipe component. Now go to your HTML, change to pipe component. Pipe component. This is how you change it. Now open here, you save pipe.component.html. What do you want to keep? here a div tag with some style, background color, GREY gray, something I'm putting. In that, I'm going to put one tag, pipe demos. We are able to see at least something on the screen now. Built-in and custom pipes. Pipes are something to format your data. What do you mean by data? I have a data with me. Go to your pipe component.ts, create a title which is a pipe string. Let's assume you have, and the title is pipes demo. Now go to HTML page. This one, instead of keeping like this, right? I'll remove and put title. What happens now? How it looks? Very small letters, all small. How do I make them as a capital letter? Use pipe symbol, that shift backslash whatever backward slash upper. It's a Angular provided built-in pipes. These are called built-in pipes. The variable name, pipe symbol, strings, uppercase. Now go and see. All pipes are capital letter. Can I make them as a small letter? Lowercase. How do I make them as a title? Again, title case or whatever. See P capital, D capital. Now I have a salary pipe component. Salary, which is of number. I'll say 1 lakh. Now, can we see salary on the screen? Paragraph H3. How do I print salary? Salary, pipe symbol, currency. Without pipe, how it looks? Only salary I'm printing. 1 lakh, I'll remove the background color if it looks very odd. Salary, colon, title, colon. Now look at the salary. How the salary looks? Very odd. Very odd means not in the next line. I can put this in the before also. Title. This is how the salary looks, but it doesn't have any proper format. What do we need to do? Now I want to use salary like currency. Because my laptop is set to US English, dollar is the one and it has a comma and a value dot, all those salary. Now date. Can I take a date object? My employee date of birth, DOB date equal to new date. It's a constructor object I'm creating. Now go to HTML, print the date of birth. H3 date of birth. How it will display without filter. This is what you will display to the end user. No, I have to show something meaningful. Date of birth. It doesn't make sense to me. Now I will go to here and say pipe symbol, date colon, now full. Full means it will display like this. Saturday, February 15, 2020, GMT, blah blah blah. If I say short, it has so many filter values you can pass. You are passing a criteria. Date of birth, short. I want to use medium. All these are supported, guys. See, medium means like this. You can put HH, MM, YY. All those parameters are supported. HH somewhere. I need to check the syntax. How to pass. See, 23:15 already. This much time is over. If I don't put only this, what happens? 23:15 only printing. If you want, hours, minute, date also, you can put seconds. I just need to check that syntax. Like this, you have a pipe. Like that, how many pipes are there? Built-in pipes. Go and cross check. Read this slide. Username and the uppercase blah blah. Lowercase pipe, title case pipe, slicing. If you have a string with you, you want to slice it. Starting character, ending character, substringing. You can do uppercase. You can do, and coming to class app component. Same, whatever I have given example. Some they took a change value. They are creating a pipe app component. Some variable they are taking, like how we have taken title, all these things, and they are using ng model to showcase you all these things. They created a input field and they are entering some value and they click convert string. Input value, enter something, convert string, and into lowercase pipe how it will be converted. The value will be taken uppercase, lowercase, title in. Very simple. I have a input text which is of ng model. How do you create ng model? They took a variable. You can say term. Term is a variable name which we are going to use. Instead of all these things, they took a button dynamically, paragraph tag, uppercase, curly braces, term, type symbol. How do you want to show the term? Uppercase. When somebody enter, there should be a button which you need to click. The button is click or convert, whatever. This is how they made it. So you call a button click event. When you click this button, you can simply say convert like this also. But now come back to application. See, you have a input. If you want, I can keep something enter or something. Enter here colon and style margin top like 25 px. Now it looks good. So here I will enter something. Nothing happens. So you have to click convert and populate that value. I can make it as two-way data binding. Then it works. Uppercase. Here you can see below uppercase. Whatever I enter, small letter, uppercase. Same way, you take one more paragraph. That is what they're trying to show you, lowercase or title case, loaded title case. That is what they are trying to explain you, that nothing else. This also value property passing. You can specify argument to this pipe. In the pipe, we can also pass a values. That's what we have shown you. See, the pipe which we have used, date of birth. It's a variable pipe. Date is a filter name, the pipe name which they have used. And here what we are passing is the value. What do you want to do? He's saying that show me date of birth in a date format. Show me date of birth in a shortcut format. Show me date of birth in a medium format. Show me date of birth in a time in a HHML. This is called the value and this is called the filter pipe name. Pipes are nothing but filters. In Angular 1, they use it to call it as a filters. Angular 2 onwards, they're calling it as a pipe. You are going to develop a web application. Take an example of Facebook. Facebook, if it is being accessed in a Chinese, they show all these labels in a Chinese language. Go to Facebook. So if I am a Chinese, I will see these labels as in Chinese language. Here all these things. That also we can do using custom pipes. You can ask me a question. What does that mean? I can write my custom pipe and say whatever the title. Here I would say my own pipe. I would say my Chinese title. Whatever comes to me, right? That I will convert the label into my equal internationalization, globalization, that I-18 and G10 or something is there. No? Filters can be used there. The pipes can be used there. Only thing is you have a label, the variable contains some value. That value needs to be pipe formatted. That is what. When do we discuss about that? When we talk about a custom pipe. That means now you need to understand what are the built-in pipes. Once you understood, then you start writing custom pipes, how you have written a custom directives. Decimal pipe is there. If you want to use digits, expressions, percentile, if you want to use percentage symbol, everything is possible. Currency pipe, date pipe, short time, short date, short time also is there. Short date, short time. Dates are also important. Instead of doing this, I can say short time. Just go and see what happens. 11:24 p.m. Want to show short date. You can say copy this short date. This is how it displays. Like that, all the formats they have applied. Short. Short means this is the format. Medium means this is the format. Long means this is the format. Full, short date, medium date, long date, full date. Everything they provide. Full time they provided. Here is the API. Please go through it. Now it is time for us apply decimal pipe to a number whole. Yeah. Let's assume you have a this much big number. You want to apply a decimal format and display only like last 5 digits. How do we do that? So you have a big number that you want to show only the one character with the five decimal points. This is the form. Once built-in pipes are there over parameterized your passing values, that is what they are talking about. How to create all these things I have explained. Chaining a pipes. Now, how do I use multiple pipes? Now go back. What they are asking is very simple. So here you are saying that the pipes demo. This one February is a small letter. How do I convert Feb as a capital letter? Very simple. What they are saying is use one more like this uppercase. Chaining a pipe. The Feb became all capital letter. That means you can apply multiple filters. What is order? You can see the uppercase pipe then gets applied, then the result of the above is operations applied. So far we have applied single pipes on that. When you chain pipes, the order is important. If it gets parsed from the left to right, the date pipe gets applied to birthday. So the uppercase pipe then gets applied to the result. First is date, then uppercase. That means order first, second, third. Now go to the next one. So chaining pipe is done. Now custom pipe. How do I create my own pipe? How do I syntax? Custom pipe, same import, @ pipe is the decorator which we are going to use. Now go to terminal, open a command line prompt, cd Suresh Angular Feb 2020 cd mod 3. It is compiling. Once the application is ready, it will launch the application localhost 4200. It should work properly. Now what I will do is that I'll move this code a bit, pipes demo whatever. I'll give a margin of 250 so that I will see an empty space on the top. See? So here what I'm going to write is I will show you how to write a custom pipe. What do you mean by custom pipe? How it is going to help you? We will see. Before I write a custom pipes, now what I'm going to do is that now these products I want to loop through and show you. How do I loop through? Ng for div li star ng for equal to product of product. What do I need to print here? I just need to say product dot name curly braces product dot category let product. Now if I run this application, how many products I will see? I will see all without any filter criteria. Let's see. Category. Why are we not seeing category? That means something is wrong. Brand. It should be brand. You see, I'm accessing a property which is not there in the object. So now you have to say brand. So what happened if the property is not there? It showed an empty. It doesn't throw an error. That is a beauty of AngularJS, which we need to understand. See, if you look at it, the web page designing on the bullet left hand side is touching on the left hand, my monitor screen. So I'll put some padding. I can use style, padding, 10px, whatever. So now it looks good. I can put h1 tag or something, some branding, or h3 would be a better option. Products list. So now we are all good. I want to show only products which are related to Apple or something like that. How do I put a criteria? And now I can use pipe. How do we do with a pipe? Let's see. Now go to folder, create a pipe folder. I want to create my own pipe. Folder name is pipes. Create new folder, product filter or something. Product.pipe.ts. It's just a TypeScript file. So I just created the TypeScript name called products.ts file. So with this, we will see how to create a pipe. Import pipe or directive, pipe, component, directive, all these are from Angular core library. So now you can say pipe. How do you create? At the rate pipe, like how you created a component, how you created a directive. Pipe, name of the pipe. What do you want to name? So I can say filter products. So I would say products, or I can say brand, anything I can give. The name of the pipe I am giving as a brand. You can also say product filter or criteria. You can give any name. Exports class, the name of the pipe which you want to give. Brand pipe, curly braces. I'll tell you what you need to use that. Here you are supposed to use a method called pipe transform from Angular core, because every pipe will have a transform method which will help you to implement the real logic how you want to filter a criteria. So what you could do is that transform will get a value. The value is an object, so I can say any, or I can also say object. So I'll tell you what we are trying to achieve here. Pipe transform method is coming from this pipe transform whatever, which needs to be implements an interface of pipe transform. So when you get pipe transform, it will get the transform method. So I am creating a pipe. The pipe is custom pipe. What it is going to do, it is going to filter the data based on the brand which I pass it or whatever. Export class brand pipe, any name you can give, implements pipe transform an interface which is part of your core library. So now transform is a method. You need to return some value. I will tell you what you are supposed to return after debugging the code. Now remember this. Now you go to your HTML module. First of all, whether it is a pipe, whether it is a directive, whether it is a component, you have to import. Import brand pipe from where? Dot slash pipes, the folder name slash products dot pipe. Now this brand pipe I have to declare as part of my declaration. Now I want to return a data which is matching with the criteria. How do I get the criteria here? So if I put a console statement, value, comma, value. I'll put a stars also if you want. Console means I can see the data on the browser in the console statement. F12, if I press developer console, see each time it is being printed, each time the pipe got a transform method is being invoked, and I'm able to see the object. Price, brand, Apple, the property name 0 to 4 times it got repeated because we have pipe product. Now what I want to do, I want to get the criteria, comma, brand, whatever, or you can say criteria, colon, which is of string type. Now can I add criteria also here? Yes, I can add comma, star, star, star. I can put comma separated values and print whatever you want. Brand name, comma, brand or criteria. See, I want to show you what are we getting as part of this transform method argument. The transform method is being implemented through pipe transform interface. So the transform method is part of this pipe transform. Value is the item you are looping through or you are passing to the form. Let's assume we have passed title. Title uppercase you are saying. Uppercase is a pipe somebody created. Who created? The Angular team. So the value which you are passing is a value here. In this case, it's not a simple value. In our case, currently, the value contains a one object. The brand is the criteria which we are going to show. So I can print criteria instead of brand. Now look at it, what we are getting. See, it's an object. You are getting it. So name, the criteria, you are getting apple. Now what I'm saying is, you can loop through the values. I'm just going to stop this. Let temporary array. I'm creating an array which is of empty array for each, where instead of value you can say product in value. I would say values. It makes sense. Don't get confused with the singular versus plural. Product in value. Each time you are looping through a product. If product dot brand is equal to the criteria which you are passing. If it is matching, then insert the values into temporary array dot push. What do you need to push? The product. Finally, what you are supposed to return? Temporary array. What is happening in this transform method? See, you are getting a criteria, you are passing that criteria, and you are looping through that criteria values and matching that item again is the criteria. Now, what we do is that look at the values which is being. So it says product is not defined. Value of I and value of I. I'm just converting into plain for each loop, looping through. See what is error. It says product is not defined. Correct. Now it is value, no product. Now you see the data which I'm using is product list, Apple, whatever only. Now I'll go to my criteria in the HTML. I'll change this to Samsung. Now I should see only Samsung products. If I'm repeating the same loop somewhere else, then I can put one more condition for Apple. So the same pipe is being used in multiple places. So that's all about custom pipes. How do you develop all those things? We are done for the day. Thank you. Bye.